That's good sound effects, good echoing. Not bad for a 1984 camera phone. My name is Rudy, you're watching Alpha Investments. Now notice, you're going to see me in the reflection in the piano as I approach the video. Can you guys see me? I'm going to slowly come in. No Scalper Scanner 5000 today, everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful day. My name is Rudy, the guy who navigates, discusses, and sells, scalps, steals, bamboozles, anger. I sell emotion for a living. How about that? Today we discuss commonly asked questions that you guys are asking me. First, we start with the most obvious as we go into the Final Fantasy. Oh boy. Destined Rivals, Flesh and Blood High Seas, Bamboozle Peak of the Year. First, I want to comment something. I had a really interesting message here from a patron the other day, and he had asked me, how do I determine if now was too dangerous to buy into Pokemon? Because, Rudy, when you were doing it and getting laughed at, everything was cheap because it was garbage, and the risk level then feels different than the risk level now. That is the basic principle of that question. And I'm actually going to give you an interesting Wall Street analogy on this one. Actually, the risk now is lower than the actual risk that I did and I took a few years ago buying an insane amount of Pokemon. So that may seem counterintuitive to a lot of you all because you're saying, well, Rudy, if you're buying the boxes from in like the 80s and they were online for $90.95, what kind of risk do we have, right? I mean, really, the downside was limited, right? See, that's on the surface, it seems like that was the situation, right? But it's really not, because it's very difficult to buy when things are bad. It's easy to discuss it with you all when things are booming. I made 2 weeks straight of videos telling you guys to be greedy, the S&P 500, everything's on sale, we're tanking, be greedy, buy. This is the time that I was very aggressive. And the majority of the internet either just laughed because this channel's a meme, but there was still a good amount of people who watch this channel. Again, a lot of people are new. They don't really understand what's going on here, which is just hilarious. So they're just meeting with, wow, this guy's telling people to be greedy. And the Dow Jones is only down like 6,000 points from the high of 45,000. The Dow's only 37,000, 38,000. I mean, 2008's right around the corner. We're going to drop 20,000 points. This guy's an idiot. So you're always going to have that. And that makes everything milky and blurry and bamboozly because at first you're like, yeah, I need to really be aggressive. Things are on sale. But then you see stuff like that. It makes you kind of go, maybe I should wait a little bit more. Maybe I shouldn't. You kind of start getting that wish you question yourself. And usually your original instinct is the correct one. So here's the thing. I view Pokemon right now as less risky. I don't want to say more of a shoo-in, because that's like an Office Space meme. You're a shoo-in. Lumberg said I'm a shoo-in. I feel like, how do I say this without jokes and Rudy memes? On the surface, people say, Rudy, why should I buy Surging Sparks today for $275 with tax and shipping on TCG Player? And my counterpoint is, well, you have a couple possible outcomes. Number one, I don't recommend you buy Surging Sparks for $275. I told you all over and over, you should be buying SVO 1 through 4, the first half of the block of Scarlet Violet. Now again, we've been talking about that for about 4 months on this channel. It's already been moving, but I still think the risk level is lower on SVO 1 through 4 versus 5 through 10 kind of thing. Now, it doesn't mean Surging Sparks is never going to go to 3, 4, 500. The odds are it will. Everyone's just arguing and punching each other in the face and slapping each other's axe just to kind of figure out when is that going to happen. But right now, it's all up. See, that's the thing. People don't seem to grasp. Nobody argues about the S&P 500 going up. Nobody argues about a Magic Collector box going up. Well, anymore. When was the end of the bear market in Magic? Oh my God, I forgot now. October, November of 2023? Has it really been that long? Jesus, okay. Whoa, was it really? Yeah, that's right, because that was post-Magic 30. Cynthia Phillip Morris Williams left to sell Funko Pops with cigarettes. They stopped the Amazon dumps. Collector boxes turned a corner. Wow, we've been in the bull market for 18 months in Magic already? Dang, I didn't realize it was that long. Ooh, God, I'm getting old. So, I forgot my train of thought now. Crap. Oh yeah, okay. So, everybody knows the SPY on Wall Street is going to go up. Everybody knows the Pokemon boxes are going to go up. Now, everybody knows Magic Collector boxes are going to go up. And now, even people are realizing even Magic Play and Draft boxes go up. Just sometimes just not very good. I mean, there's 10, 15-year-old Magic boxes that, yeah, they've gone up some, but it's like 2, 3, 4% a year. So it's still fun, but you're really not, you're not going to, what color is your Bugatti and, how many different Lambos are you going to get? It's not really like that. Pokemon is obviously more aggressive due to management, reprint policy, and just how they manage the actual chase cards, illustrators, and, well, the things that people want. Everybody argues on the internet about when to buy and what to do. And the ironic thing is, like, 90% of the posts and comments and discussions on the internet are like kind of irrelevant. Because there's nothing to really do. I mean, everybody's like seeking out information and inside information, distributor information. Rudy, what box is this? When should I buy that? Like, none of these questions are really like credible, valid, good questions to ask. Because it's like emailing an employee at the New York Stock Exchange or maybe the Chicago Board of, the CBOE or something. Like, it's like emailing someone who works in an exchange saying, hey, which stock should I buy? Or when is the NASDAQ? When is the SPY? When's the Russell? When are these indexes going to go up? Like, nobody actually knows that answer. Even the people who work in these things, even the people at distribution, even the people who are employees, even the owners, even the higher ups at distribution, like, nobody really has answers to these specific questions. If they did, they wouldn't tell anybody. That's why I always make fun of the Rudy's going to start a get rich quick program. I'm going to have Rudy coin, the meme coin. It doesn't work because everybody knows if you really had a secret thing, you just wouldn't share it. So the risk now is actually lower than the risk was in the bear market for a lot of you all out there. Now for me, it's a little bit different because now I can't get as much of certain things. Now if I want more Pokemon, I got to pay either, double, triple the original price for a store. So if I want an ETB, a prismatic, the days of getting $30, $35 prismatic at launch, no, you're not going to get them for $45. I'm over here going, well, should I spend $60? Should I spend $80? Maybe $100 a prismatic ETB, I guess. Should I buy in bulk and tie up the money? Like, the days of that it's just gone, man. It is what it is. But the thing is, when I was buying large quantities and saddling myself with risk, I had to be very confident in my choices because nothing was going up. So that's a big difference than today. When you buy a Pokemon box or a Magic box or anything, hell, even the new Flesh and Blood or the Weiss Nikki, or when you buy these things today, we know what's going on. The argument is, well, I wonder how much it's going to run up. I wonder how long it'll take. Like, everybody knows. There is no surprise. There's no first to market anymore. In 2023, during the 3-4 months when I was yelling about this is the bottom of the market and left with just a bunch of middle fingers and death threats and all that. God, that was a good era. It was me believing in instinct based on 20 years of experience. And I felt very adamant about we are at a bottom in 2023. And, well, the only thing to do if you feel that confident is you kind of deploy a very large amount of money. Now, obviously, for, depending on your situation, if your net worth is, approaching or breaking, $1 million or 10 million, or if you're in, big balls Rudy shit, when you're going towards 100 million plus kind of thing, well, it's obviously easier to make certain decisions. But at the time, understand everybody, the risk that I had to take was extremely high. Let me paint you this one. So what if I was wrong in the 2023 on Q4 that was not the bottom of the market? What if I deployed that? I spent probably $2 million at the bottom of the market there, between Magic and Pokemon and Weiss and everything. Well, I guess also, I did some Force of Will, some Flesh and Blood, and there was something else I can't remember. But let's pretend that wasn't the bottom of the market. Let's pretend all of 2024 and even now in 2025, let's pretend this was the bottom of the market. So I would have put $2 million into, let's say, Pokemon and Magic. Let's say the market dropped another 10, 20, 30%. So not only will the 2 million for me have dropped to 1.5 million, but now I've literally lost a quarter of the money, and I'm tying up money for 2 years getting 0% in inventory that's eroding in value. So not only did I not get any appreciation, or the stock market didn't go up, or underperformed the S&P, whatever index, whatever angle you want to frame around what I'm saying is up to you, but imagine that, okay? And imagine the risk and the balls to be able to do that in a moment where, well, the entire world said, well, Scarlet Violet, especially SVO1, 4,000 boxes, patrons bought a couple hundred. Imagine a world where it's like, okay, I'm going to just keep doing this and everyone's just not buying. Things are bad. Negative cash flow month over month. I'm having to pull cash from other categories, asset classes, real estate, brokerage accounts, yield from dividends, stocks, individual bond, coupon payments, everything. I'm having to do a lot of creative things just to make this work, because obviously I will not saddle myself with debt. I have no leverage. So imagine pulling from other categories that are doing well and successful and having to tell yourself, let's take the good things and extract money from them, and let's put it all in this one Pokemon and Magic collector stuff that's not doing good. Imagine if you said that to a financial advisor or anyone in your local Chick-fil-A. Imagine if you told them, oh, what do you do, Rudy? Well, I've got this successful, I own a skyscraper in New York. And I'm pulling all the money and cash flow out, and I'm going to buy these Pokemon cards on this new era called Scarlet Violet. And so far, I'm negative and nothing's gone up. Like, imagine saying that in those moments. And see, this is why, these videos are very important to me, because this conversation is going to serve as a historical log of history that will be lost in the next 5-10 years. In 5-10 years from now, no one's going to remember any of this shit. Okay? Whatever Pokemon's 35th anniversary, 40th anniversary, whatever's going, no one's going to remember this era. You all out there are so zoomed in and short-sighted, and you're so focused on this hourly, weekly, daily, monthly. All I'm sitting here going is, in 5 to 10 years, no one's going to remember anything about the Scarlet Violet start, how nobody wanted, the crash, the bear market, the return, all these. Like, none of this is going to exist. It's just going to be rumors of the past. That is one of the most important things I ask myself when I make these videos. That's why some of you guys feel they're redundant to certain topics. Some of you guys feel like, why is this guy just bragging, talking about it? This stuff gives you guys the historical timeline. And in 10, 20 years from now, this is going to be some crazy shit to look back on. Okay? So, back to the conversation. So today, if you go and you buy Mr. P, SVO2, let's just pick on a set, no real reason. Let's say you buy this product and you're paying $250 a box. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's $300, maybe it's down to $200. But let's just say $250 right now. So I'm either over on whatever, I don't know how accurate I am. And imagine right now, well, Rudy, I missed the boat, and they used to be at $99, and no. Stop being a positive Penelope entangled in a Debbie Downer next to negative Nancy, who's pretty much fondling your ex behind when you turn around and you're not home at work. Understand the reason Mr. P is $250 today. The reason the new Magic Collector box for Wildsville Drain, for Bloomborough, for Dustmore, for Foundations, for the new this new Tarkir Dragonstorm. How much are those collector boxes? I haven't checked them in the last week or so. Imagine, well, Rudy, I don't want to buy today. Rudy, I know what'd you sell your Rudy Tarkir collectors to patrons? What was your ripoff price? $315? Oh God, what are they now? 100? 150? Oh wait, they're 400. Well, anyways, let's pretend they're tanked. When we see the market validate something, that adds value. And that is something people are not placing enough weighting on. When I see Mr. P at $250 a box on an SVO2, and we're talking a set that's 7 releases ago. What are we at, SV10 now? We're talking a set of SVO2. I don't give a shit about, it hasn't rotated. It doesn't matter. Your stepsister rotates when I give her a dinner. It doesn't mean anything. It's 7 sets releases ago, okay? When I see that, the market does the work for me. I don't stare. I don't refresh TCG Player. All right, 3 boxes sold. Wait, only 1 box sold. Nobody bought a box yesterday. See, it doesn't work that way. The market does the work for us. The market is a sum of thousands of stores and millions of people. It will tell you what's going on. Now, the market can be very inefficient. And it can be, as we like to say, it can be wrong and mispriced in short time frames. But it always works out. And it always self-corrects in the long run. We've seen this over and over. So before we jump to Magic and the Wildsville Drain, the set box reprint, and the Weiss Nikki reprint, before we get to that, let's finish the Pokemon thing. I view $300. As we were speaking, Mr. P, SVO2 went up to $300 a box. Let's just pretend Rudy just bumped the market. So I view $300 SVO2 boxes at a lower risk than buying Surging Sparks. That's why, and that's how I view it. Okay? Because Surging Sparks, yeah, $250, $300, it's great. But see, SVO2's been out a while. It's simmered. It's well done. Surging Sparks is still mid-rare. Journey Together is still rare. You know, Destined Rivals is still purple. You know, I want the market to validate and confirm. I want the market to share the details with me, okay? I want the market to really explain to me what's good, what's bad, and what's working. And when I see the market take a 2-year-old product that started at $99 and is at almost $300, that's the market's way of telling me this is the gold standard of Scarlet Violet. This is this is going to have a long-term healthy thing. SVO2 will be a $1,000 box. No one's arguing that that's impossible. The only thing you're going to argue about with the Timmies in the back room in the basement is what year and what month will that happen. See, that's what I look at. So buying $1,500 or $2,000 for a case of SVO2, that's not that risky compared to when I threw the dice to park a lot of money in a collapsing, negative, rejected product era that everybody didn't want. I had to believe and speculate that things would be different in the future without having that information. Just going by historical information, price memory, price history, and of course my own experience to try to derive this data, these numbers. So now today, when you see these boxes, going on TCG Player right now and buying a box of Surging Sparks for $275 with tax, like, I don't view that as dangerous. What are we looking at? Rudy, the reprint hit. Yeah, I know. The entire reprint showed up. I was able to take all the cases and boxes and place them on top of one layer on a pallet, so that my pallet, instead of being 9 rows high for Surging Sparks, has a 10th row because of the reprint. Holy shit, what a time to be alive. See, the reprint stuff, you have all these new, usually younger, and usually because people don't know, and because Pokemon and Wizards, and they don't legally have to give details, they don't have to say anything because it doesn't matter. And, this 1% of the hobby that's in this YouTube universe thing that thinks this is the whole world when it doesn't even represent like 2% of the people who buy this shit. Like 1%, if that. If there's like 100 million people aware of Pokemon worldwide, and even 1% of them is into Pokemon, you're talking at least 1 million Pokemon buyers, what, a day, a week, a month? What's the average Pokemon video? What's it get? On this channel, what, 50,000 views? So what is that, like 0.001%? Like, it doesn't, like, the human brain has a hard time understanding scalability. It gets really funky when you get into that whole thing. That whole relativity, scalability shit gets weird. But that's, understand, folks, the point of the Pokemon rant, then we're going to Magic, is that the risk today is not through the roof And actually, when Pokemon was cheaper, the risk was higher. It was actually inverted. That's my opinion. Because you really had to believe back then. You know, when I was buying ABC, like in years, and you know, distributors like, I got this shit in the books. You know, you want 400,000, Rudy, and I'm like 350,000. We settle at 375,000. And I'm like, all right. And I'm sitting here going, what am I gonna do? Run a patron sale and get 5 orders? I mean, do I just run a sale and just lose money in each one as a courtesy, which we do sometimes on Patreon? But other times, I'm like, there's nothing I can do. It doesn't matter what the price is, unless it's literally free. People just aren't going to buy it. Because when people are in that market rejective state of mind, there's nothing you can do besides literally fire sell, give it away. And unfortunately, when you have a small store, undercapitalized, and you have a manager monitoring cash flows, and he tells the employee, we need liquidity, that employee is going to put those boxes on the internet, and that accelerates and feeds into the bear market. And that is why bear markets are always so negative. And that's why bear markets are so dangerous. Everybody right now is begging for a Pokemon collapse or reset. But nobody's sitting here saying, you do understand, when the day comes that we have a full-blown Pokemon bear market again, and I guarantee you, G-word, G-word, the word you're not allowed to use as a licensed broker, advisor, registered rep on Wall Street. You cannot legally use the G word. If I was at Merrill Lynch and I was in a client conversation or conference call and I used the G word anywhere in that call, I would get fucking reprimanded, risked, bonus, possible termination, leave. You cannot use the G word. And I am here to tell you all, using Rudy's left nut with an extra wrinkly sack with the G word, the next Pokemon collapse will happen. The problem is, if it doesn't happen for 10 years, who the fuck cares? If it doesn't happen for 3 years, 1 year, 7 years, 15 years, what if it takes, that's the issue. That's the problem with lifetime machines in the future. The most important data point is data that you can't get an answer with. And you have to always live like Schrodinger's cat. You have to assume all possible outcomes. The kitty cat is alive and well. The kitty cat is no longer with us. We have to live our life with both scenarios. Now, Magic the Gathering. So, Wildsville Drain, the set box reprint. Guess what? Been reprinted. Guess what? Demand was so high because Wildsville Drain set boxes skyrocketed to $200 plus tax. $220 people were paying shipped on TCG Player. Well, because of that, everybody went crazy for the Wildsville Drain set boxes, including me. I told you guys I requested like 3-4 pallets from distribution. Well, the demand was so high, even the reprint couldn't fill the required pre-orders for this last little reprint of Wild Set. Unbelievable. So now, Wild Set boxes went from 200. As of filming this, I think they're back. Somebody give me a quote. Wildsville Drain set boxes TCG Player. Are we 130s, 140s, 150s? I'm going to predict when you watch this video, Wildsville Drain set boxes, first week of May 2025. I'm filming this. I'm going to say we're in 140. I think we dropped from 200 to 140, a one-third haircut. Now, what I want to tell you all very clearly, okay? Wildsville Drain set boxes are going to immediately, before we get Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Stepsister Tuesday for the holidays, before the end of the year, Wildsville Drain set boxes will be back over 200 and crushing new all-time highs. They did a single. Now again, if Wizards said, you know what, fuck it, we're undoing the out of print, we're going to keep printing set boxes, we're going to keep printing draft boxes, we lied, and you know what, we're going to actually, for the first time ever, just endlessly reprint collector boxes to the ground. That's what social media wants to hear, right? So let's pretend that happens. Yes, then obviously I'll be wrong. But again, on a financial risk approach, well, they reprinted set boxes of Wilds. I don't have any. I don't have any for patrons. I didn't get to sell any to patrons in the past, and I'm super excited about it. So I'm here to tell you all, out of the 3,000 boxes for 3 to 5 pallets I requested, I'm getting filled. Take a guess. Anybody? I requested 3,000 to 5,000 boxes from multiple distributors. What do you guys think I'm getting filled? Should I end the video there? I don't do that to you guys. 800 boxes. I'm getting 800 boxes of Wild Set. So not bad. A pallet and a half, maybe? Not terrible. So I'm undecided because I didn't really be able to get as many as I thought. So that's only about 100, let's just say 150 cases, 140 cases. Well, I can sell 100 of the cases to patrons, keep 40 for myself. I can do nothing and keep it and just wait for it to go back over 200. And then maybe, it's complicated. So my advice to you all out there, if you're not a Rudy patron and you don't like saving money and you like to remain in your socioeconomic situation, you want to always overpay, never be a patron, I would recommend going on TCG Player right now. And if I am right, if it's down to 140 a box for a wild set, I think the 130s, 140s is going to be that. I think you're going to be towards your bottom. I think you should probably buy in. If you don't have any wild set, you should probably buy it. I don't even remember what set boxes were. How much were set? I know they were more expensive to draft. Aren't set boxes like 100 or 110? Because I know the new play boxes are like 120, right? Yeah, I don't see much. So 130, 140 is going to be your bottom. So if we do drop from 200 down to that, that's a huge opportunity. I do recommend that for you, anyone out there who missed out in the past. Okay. A couple small things. Let's jump on the Nikki Weiss thing. So it is confirmed. Bushy Road is doing a reprint of Nikki. They've also confirmed, for one of the rarest things I've ever seen in my life, they are doing the reprint with the gold signatures, is what I was told. So we'll see if that holds true or if they change last minute, which is an incredibly, incredibly rare move on Bushy Road. Now, chances are it's probably going to get some sort of allocation. I don't see Bushy Road just endlessly printing a reprint of gold signatures with Nikki. And number two, the demand is so absurdly high. I don't even have any. I end up overselling the patrons and pulling the sale down within like 10 minutes. My advice on this is this reprint's supposed to hit around June, July. You know June, July is the peak craziness of the CCG world. This is the moment where we got the Final Fantasy, Destined Rivals, Flesh and Blood High Seas. You're going to see tremendous price swings, and you're going to see moments of really good deals, and the opportunity is going to be very small. I've been telling you guys for the last 30, 60 days, be prepared. Your wallet's going to get hammered. There's going to be a lot of opportunity as all these things happen at once, and we're going to see a lot of stores have to dump everything off the books as quick as possible. Because my personal bill, I'm estimating, if my Final Fantasy allocations and Destined Rival allocations come in similar to previous sets for Pokemon and Magic and everything, my bill over a 45-day window coming up is approximately $2.51 million is what I owe over the next 45 days. That's for me. Now, if a normal store just has a small position of these things, where even if a normal store gets 50 grand in Final Fantasy, 50 grand in Pokemon, 50 grand in Weiss, and of course Star Wars and Flesh and Blood and everything else, you're talking tremendous, tremendous cash flow problems. A lot of bills. Stores are going to be very aggressive. And this is the time, I'm telling you all right now, if you see Final Fantasy collector boxes have that dip down, this is the time to move in. Now again, I can't give you guys any G-word craziness because again, we don't know the spoilers yet. We don't have all the distributors' allocations yet. We don't know the serialization of high-end cards in Final Fantasy. We don't know all the craziness that's hidden. So it's all pending. But like I said in the other video, this is a huge opportunity. So that's where things are. I wanted to make this video today to remind you all that number one, the risk today is not as extreme as you all are making it out, comparing it to, well, Rudy, it's easy for you to say because you're rich and you have FU money and you bought everything when Pokemon was cheap. And so now the risk is dangerous for all of us. No, it's not. That's not how risk and risk approach and risk management and upside downside works. There is no situation where SVO2, we're picking on that in this video. I haven't picked on SVO2 in a while. I just like Mr. P. So there is no situation where Mr. Penis and SVO2 is going back to $90 to $100 a box. Like, there is no universe right now that happens. Period. Like, well, Rudy, they could destroy it. If they reprinted it and I got a phone call from every distributor with 10,000 boxes for 30 pallets, I would literally, I would take everything. There's no market where that happens. Okay? They don't have the time, the printer capacity, the slot. It's physically not even possible. Yes, they just print money, but it doesn't. They physically can't. The demand, the print, the queue, the space, and everything's booked, man. You can't just turn around and say, okay, shut down all new releases on every card game, and we're going to use USA printers here from Millennia and Carta Mundi, and we're going to print everything in the U.S. to avoid tariffs so nothing goes to $1 billion. And now we're going to not make any new release, and we're only going to reprint old shit and wreck the market. Like, who comes up with these ideas? Like, Pokemon 25 plus years, like, have they not proven themselves at this point? Like, who the fuck is dumb enough to believe this shit? Like, is it just like a manipulative thing? Like, Rudy's trying to just get to your sister? Like, what's going on here, man? So, the risk today is not unattractive. Okay? And I'll leave this video here. It's the same thing with the prismatic thing and the 151. Like, I've been going back and forth, and I get these little reprints. Oh, Rudy, here's one case. Oh, Rudy, guess what? Here's 50 boxes of prismatic ETBs. Here's 2 cases of bundles. Oh, here's 1 blister box. I mean, it's like this one little thing. There's no pallets. There's no freight trucks on this shit. It's just boop, 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 here you go. And I'm like, okay. So I keep adding it, adjusting the inventory. I'm like, all right, cool. All right, maybe we should do like a patron sale where there's an ETB, there's a bundle, some blisters, we make a fun variety for just people and families and patrons. You just want to open shit and have fun, right? But then I'm like, okay, well, more keeps getting dripped out. And then again, I'm like, everyone's upset at the pricing. And I'm like, honestly, these prices are never going down. And I'm like, I mean, what, 2 years from now? What, 151 or prismatic starts getting 2-3 years old? Are we all going to be sitting here going, well, the big crash is coming. MSRP is coming. Where's my MSR manufacturer suggested retail penis gang? Where are we at? I'm like, imagine what these things are going to be on like a Rudy's Pokemon bathroom in 5-10 years from now. Imagine. Imagine the long game on this. I can't calculate the potential on this stuff. Like, I mean, are we gonna have prismatic ETBs at like 500? Are we gonna have $1,000 ETB? Like, I don't know. This stuff is weird, man. But hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Risk is more complicated than most people realize if you've never been deep into it and having to manage things. Risk is a very, very complicated thing. And risk is something that it's not just, oh, look, the line on the graph went up, so now buying today is more dangerous. This really wealthy Wall Street guy, when I was new at Merrill Lynch, sat with me. And for about 2 days, went to lunch and everything, and kind of helped train me. I listened to some of his conference calls and just kind of sat there, kind of thing. And he had this joke to me. He's like, always remember, Rudy, when a $30, $40, $50 stock on Wall Street, as long as it's a blue chip company on the S&P 500 or something, no penny stocks, don't literally, it needs to be mid cap, large cap. I said, okay. He said, as long as a company can go from $30, $40 up to $50, $60, $70. Just remember, Rudy, if a stock can make that run to $70, $80, the $70, $80 stock can run to $120. And I remember going, but why would you buy after the stock already makes a run? He says, because the market's already validated the theory. It's proven its thesis. It's proven that it has the growth, and it backed it up with earnings with more than one quarterly report. It's proven that it's the real deal. Therefore, the momentum of that increases the probability and lowers the risk that it continues. Now, of course, you always have market crashes or black swan events, but I thought that was very interesting. And I think about that all the time, specifically with Magic collector boxes and Pokemon boxes, because I feel like it's exactly the same thing. People get scared away because they see a number. Tarkir collector boxes. The Rudy ripoff at $315, and now they're, let's say, $400. But the thing is, Tarkier collector boxes, even at 400, even at 450 from LGSs and online. Like, I've thought about that. I'm like, even if I went online to TCG Player and I bought hundreds of collector boxes, even for the 400 or 500 range, like, is that a bad deal? Buying out the all-time high? Is that considered a ripoff? Like, how do you determine that? Because in reality, I don't think it is. Because you're deploying in products that are more expensive because the market already verified it. It was like I had that one patron, you know who you are, who said, Rudy, I'm going to spend like 50, 100 grand, and I'm going to do a big bump on Lord of the Rings holiday boxes. And this was when Lord of the Rings holiday boxes were, I think, 700. And he bought a big brick of them, and I think the market went to like 1,000 at the time. And everybody was all wound up, and I'm not doing this. Who's this? It's fucking crazy. Whales. And you'll start to see kind of the ants on the anthill kind of waddle around and get angry, and the ants will try to combine to like a Transformer, Optimus Prime to get people together to boycott or resist. And it's cute. It's cute watching that stuff. But it's interesting because he literally said, well, Rudy, this is the market said it's already the king of collector boxes. And I remember he sent me this message saying, what do you think of that idea? And I said, well, if you have the money and you can do it, you're probably not going to come out bad, but it's a lot of money. You're going to have to deploy tens of thousands at least to really make a dent. And on top of that, you're buying an all-time high, but the odds are, Lord of the Rings holiday is going to go to 2, 3, 4, 5,000. This is when they were $700 a box and people were going crazy. And now we're approaching the Final Fantasy thing. And like I said, man, when those spoilers and when this information comes out in the next 2 weeks, oh man, God help that market. If the rumors are true and the spoilers and serialized cards are off the chart, God help the market. That's all I have to say. That Final Fantasy shit's going to be insane. That's all I have. Hope you all learned something today. Risk. No debts, no leverage. Risk. If it's too good to be true, it usually is. If it feels like free tendies, you're usually missing something. If it feels like there's no downside, then the risk of the downside is something you can't see. But there's always downside. There's no shortcut. Just remember that. If it feels too easy, that means you are failing to understand some of the windfalls and some of the speed bumps that you can't see. Have a beautiful day, as always. Rudy's penis.